Before I start, I'd like to mention I was shot on my spine with the 45, so this is gonna hurt. And last year I already made a video to try to get back up in my wheelchair, and the next day my back was very sore and my nerve pains in my legs was very painful. So if you appreciate me trying to do this video with my condition, then please like and then also consider subscribing, because I have a bent spine and collapsed L1 vertebrae and also have a rib out, so this is gonna be very painful. So first I'm gonna try to attempt getting back up without getting out of my wheelchair. Do not laugh. My brother's right there. So I'm gonna fall. I should probably move this. Okay.
That's not so bad.
Put the camera right there, that should be better. Okay, right there, perfect. Thank you. Yeah, so I can see it. Yeah, technology.
With technology.
Okay guys, and something I forgot to mention is it's good to have your seatbelt on, but most people, they're not going to have a seatbelt. Your butt's going to like slide out since you don't have a seatbelt on. So I tried doing this last year and it was very hard, and I personally couldn't do it because my wheelchair is very heavy, and then also my backrest weighs a ton. It's like 20 pounds and it's a long backrest, so it's hard to just flip over versus somebody with a smaller backrest. And oh shoot. See, that's something that gets annoying too. Your legs keep falling out. So yeah. And some people, they try to like lock their brakes when trying to do this. Oh my goodness, this is irritating.
I'm tired of this crap.
This is why I don't like to just try to flip my wheelchair back up after a fall. See, my legs are going to keep falling back and it's very annoying. I'd rather just get out, and I'll show you how I do that. So some people, they try to lock their brakes. It's kind of hard to do this. And then keep in mind, my brakes do not work, and a lot of people will say, well, why don't you just adjust your wheelchair brakes on your own instead of getting them fixed? And the reason why is because the person that replaced my whole brakes, because it snapped off one day, he ended up like over tying them, and so now I cannot adjust them because he stripped the screws. So anyways, so some people will lock their brakes, and there are some that don't even need to lock their brakes. Let me see, I don't know which way they did it, but it's to try to like flip it up. And like I mentioned, my wheelchair weighs a lot, and then also like my backrest is long and it also weighs a lot, so a lot of the weight, it's like farther away from like the center, so it's kind of hard to flip up. And some people, they'll also like hold on to like the leg frame, and they'll try to, but like I said, I don't have a seatbelt on, so it also makes it hard. I'm not going to keep messing around with it because it's very frustrating. It's a waste of time, and I don't have the patience to try to flip my wheelchair up and try to do this for like 10 or 20 minutes. But if you're in a wheelchair sport, then most likely you can't just get out of your wheelchair, so that's just something you gotta learn on your own. But for my wheelchair, I cannot because it's heavy. Then also I don't have my seatbelt on, and also my legs keep falling out, so it's just very frustrating. So I'll be showing you how I get back up if I do fall. Yeah. So for me personally, I could transfer back in my wheelchair without locking my brakes, but then again, my brakes don't even work anyways, and they're locked right now. And you see my wheels just keep spinning, so it's kind of pointless. So a lot of people, when they try to get back into their wheelchair, they'll bend their knees and then like try to hold it with their chin. But thing is, my legs keep falling. It's very frustrating, and it's also a waste of time to try to keep your knees up. And also, you don't need to bend your knees just to get back in your wheelchair. So instead, just have your legs straight out, and it's the same thing.
Work smarter, not harder.
And if you don't want to have your feet dragging along the floor, then you could just do this. And now your feet is closer, and actually it's the same thing as if your knees was up. It's still the same placement, but the only difference is your knees is down. So I have my hand between my legs right here, and then I just lift my butt up and I just transfer it like that. And a lot of people say like they can't even lift their butt up like at least a couple inches off the floor. For me, I'm pretty light and my legs weigh nothing, so I'm able to do this.
I'm light as a feather.
And if you could transfer with your knees up like this, then you could do that other technique I just showed you, because like I said, it's the same thing as if your legs was down. So if you was to have your knees together because you don't want your feet to be dragging along the floor, then you have your hand on the outside of your feet and then you have your hand on the wheelchair frame, and then just lift your butt up. And then to practice how to like lift your butt up is just like practice dipping up like this and do that a couple of times and then just lift up and scoot back. Now I understand that that could be quite difficult for some people, and so what you can do instead is just dip yourself up off of your wheelchair frame. And what I like to do is I just sit on my seat plate and then I try to dip myself up. And it's kind of hard to like lift my butt over the seat cushion since I have a really thick seat cushion.
Yes, it's very thick.
So if it's hard for you to lift your butt over your seat cushion because it's thick, what you can do instead is just flip over on your stomach. How dare you? What's that? Oh, let me see. And my brother. Subscribe to T11 Paraplegic. So what I do is I put my leg on the other side of my feet so I can flip over. I want to flash you guys.
There's so much porn!
And then I'll just go on my knees like this. It's kind of hard to do it, especially if you have no core stability like me. Kind of hard because you have to try to balance yourself on your knees. And then what I do is try to quickly put my hand on the seat cushion and then flip around like that. And honestly, I don't like to use that technique because as you see, it's pretty hard and it's hard for me to do it because I have no core balance because I'm paralyzed many ways. And also, that takes a lot of energy because I'm pretty tired just from doing that.
I'm pretty tired.
You don't want to do the one I just showed you because it looks very hard, or if you tried it and it's hard for you. What you could do is if you have something right next to you to dip up, like your bed or maybe like a sofa or something like that, then you could just dip up and go onto there and then transfer into your wheelchair. But an easier way is to just transfer it directly. And if you're unable to get back into your wheelchair, then you can always have somebody help you, which is actually something I used to do for the first year when I was first paralyzed. And since my dad has rods in his back, then also he's getting older, I don't want him to be doing that because I don't want him to hurt himself. And you're probably wondering, well, why didn't you go to rehab? Because they'll teach you how to transfer. I went to rehab and I was an inpatient for 2 months and an outpatient for 1 month. And when I was there, the people that was working with me, they didn't know how to work with paraplegics, and so they didn't know how to teach me how to transfer. And they used to like show me a YouTube video of somebody transferring, and they pretty much tell me to like look at that person and then try to like do what they're doing. And that's why I don't like to listen to nurses or people in rehab when they try to tell me how to do certain things, because they go off of books while people like us, we go off experience. And when I was in rehab, I actually learned how to do more things from other paraplegics than them. Anyways, and so that one day when I flipped back in my wheelchair outside on the concrete, my dad had to help me and pick me back up. And so that's when I decided that I need to learn how to get back into my wheelchair. And so I was just in my room trying to practice how to get in my wheelchair until I got it down. And when I did figure out how to do it, I ended up showing my family that I'm able to transfer back in my wheelchair without any help. And then that's when I decided that I want to do YouTube so I could teach others how to transfer and do other things. And then also so you guys aren't watching a 20-minute how-to video when I could do less than that. So subscribe for quick tips and tricks. Anyways, leave in comments below which technique was your favorite. And if you want to see my first transfer video on how I get back in my wheelchair, then you can click this video right here. And like I mentioned, I have a messed up back and then also I have a rib that's out. And if you want to see me going to a chiropractor, then you click this video right here.